One of the major things of startups getting failed is two. One, the expenses are too much and there's not enough capital. So less monetary is one of the major reasons. Cash flow is a major reason. And a second would be again a PMF.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Ynspire DAIVIK. Today we have a really interesting guest. His name is Ambavi. Welcome Naman, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, that's having me.
So Naman is a co-founder of a company called Easocare, which is a medtech company, and they're really redefining the way people are getting their medicines. I'd just like Naman to first explain what Easocare is before we just jump into how you started to do it.
Definitely. So ideally Easocare is now doing a SaaS-based platform where we let the brick and mortar retail pharmacies to start their e-pharmacy store very quickly, very efficiently, very smoothly, and very cost-effectively.
Okay.
So what it actually does is our tech-enabled platform helps them start their e-pharmacy store in 5 to 10 minutes and lets them compete with these e-pharma giants to actually start accepting orders online. So currently, the current chain is where the customers normally place orders maybe on call. They go and collect it maybe, or they place it on WhatsApp or other mediums like that. But we just want these pharmacies to have an additional way in which they can start accepting orders and actually come on the bandwagon of the Digital India initiative and also start transforming their shift of mentality from like a retail space to more of a hybrid of retail and online space. So essentially it acts like a platform. It's completely tech enabled. And that's what it's doing. It's empowering these retail pharmacies to actually start going online, which they couldn't do maybe due to technical incapabilities or financial incapabilities or just the knowledge per se.
Correct. So basically, if I had to put it in a nutshell, it's helping and enabling any and every pharmacy, a brick and mortar pharmacy, go online.
Correct.
And increase their reach per se.
Digital as well as in terms of their customer footprint as well.
Understood. So if you can just help us understand what SaaS stands for, because I'm sure not a lot of people understand.
So SaaS stands for software as a service. So it's a software that is actually a mobile app and a desktop app. And it's offered as a service on a yearly subscription basis for the pharmacies to actually use the platform.
Okay.
So normally when you call SaaS, it's something like Netflix. So Netflix is on a SaaS model. So you use the software, avail their services and pay a subscription fee to keep availing the services.
Understood. So that is similarly how your app is going to be.
Correct.
And at what stage have you reached right now? Because I mean, I remember reading a lot about your startup, and you all have done a bunch of other things which now led you to here. So if we can now just jump into how you got here. Also, another thing which I would want you guys to know is that Naman is just 19 years old. So I think you were redefining. I was just telling this to my parents yesterday. I said, people used to think that I was young when I started renovations because I used to go to a bank, I used to ask for loans and various other things. I was about 23 that time.
Right.
And I would say, I was telling my parents the other day that the newer generations are really redefining it, because now overall in India, the startup culture has expanded so much that now, I mean, I would say when I was in the first year of college, there was no concept of startup. There was just like, yaar, college aao, attend karo, jitne marks mil rahe, just like, at least pass.
Correct.
That was the whole concept.
Correct.
And now, shift to, I would say, entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs like you who have the platform, who are, I would say, using those 4 years, which I think a lot of us wasted. So I think kudos to you on that. So if you can just tell me how you decided to start this up and what led you to start Easocare.
So Easocare started back in 2019 when I was 17.
Wow.
So that was a time where I couldn't incorporate a company because I was not legal yet. So my dad had to incorporate the company on his name and start the whole project as a whole. We started as an EMR platform. So EMR stands for Electronic Medical Records. So that actually started with a personal incident that happened in my life that led to, thinking, okay, we should start something like that because there was no one who did that and it was too unorganized. So we started with so there was an incident where one of my family members had to go and rush to a hospital to an emergency, but the medical records were at home. And the doctors were like, I'm not going to start the treatment unless you get me the previous year's ECGs and reports, etc. Only then I can give you the right treatment. We wasted around 45 minutes to just collect the records and all. Fortunately, it was not too late. But that's when it struck me that if you have everything online, you can like have your bank online, you can have your food online, you can have every single stuff, e-commerce online. Why not have your medical records online as well?
Yeah.
And that was the time when it was just slowly expanding to even reports, the lab reports in PDF. That was like the big thing back 2 years back. COVID has changed a lot of stuff, but that's what happened. That's what began to starting my EMR platform. We did that for around 1.5 years. We expanded to around 7,000, 8,000 downloads, around 4,000 users. It went really good. One thing happened over there is when we started talking to investors to expand this to a bigger scale, one thing was that the adoption was very less. People are still not acquainted to preventive measures. They're all into reactive measures.
Correct.
Jab hoga dekha jayega. That kind of mentality. So we wanted to shift that paradigm, but consumer mentality change takes a lot of time, efforts, and monetary understanding as well. And another thing that we realized over a period of time is no one's ready to pay for this. So the revenue model aspect, the business model aspect, as well as in terms of the expansion for adoption, slowly made us realize that this might not be the right time, maybe the right product, but just not the right time to actually start something like this. That's when we pivoted into, that's when COVID happened. That's when the whole, lockdown and everything happened. And again, there was a similar incident which happened, which led me to start the new project, which is for the pharmacies. So you might be just follow up with me if I'm going in the right direction. What used to happen was during the lockdown, even deliveries were shut, e-com deliveries. So the e-pharma giants who used to actually deliver medicines online to the end consumers also couldn't deliver for the first few months. That's where these retail medical stores were the only saviors. There used to be lines, there used to be no discounts in the game, there used to be simple purchases, there used to be less of stock. They risked their lives to actually come during the pandemic when no one else used to come out. The whole every single shop was closed in the street, and you'll see one green sign showing the medical store is open where there's a huge line. And these guys risked their life to do this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we also stood in lines waiting for like supplies during that
period. Correct. So there was groceries and medicines, the only things, essentials open, and they did that. And that was because e-pharma players couldn't deliver. The minute things started opening up for e-com deliveries, the lines became less. The purchases became less, the sales became less, and people again started going in the confines of their home, placing orders online. And it occurred to me because this happened with my own grandfather. He used to place orders online, and then he again went down to get in this pandemic, and again he came back and started placing orders online. And I'm like, these guys are not the second option. These guys are not, when everything doesn't work, you'll go to them.
The stores.
The stores. That's when it struck me. What is it that's stopping them from actually going online? I mean, that can solve the problem, right? Your nearby local guy, if it's online, it's one and the same thing for you. That's where it's, a lot of consumer surveys, a lot of market research actually led me to believe I used to go with wearing double mask, gloves and sanitizers in my pocket to actually go to each store, ask, get a lot of rejections because the sales are actually doing good. Like, you don't have time for you. So that's when I thought, okay, fine. I went to 50, maybe spoke to 5, actually got interested in 1, 2, and I got the problem that they're facing is that these guys want to start something of their own in the e-pharma space. But one thing is there's no technical expertise. And second, the development agencies who actually make these kind of e-pharmacy portals or stuff like that, they're very expensive. They're not very liberal in terms of sharing that capital right now when they're actually burning. So that's when the whole idea of enabling them to actually start something of their own came into my mind, and that's when I started. I built something. Being in the tech background, I could build an MVP, which is actually a minimum viable product. A product which is just good enough to actually go to the market, test out the features, and see if it's actually suitable for the market. So there's MVP, and then we do something which is actually a PMF, which is a product market fit, to see if the product is actually fit for the market. It's the right time to go ahead. And that's when the whole process started of this.
So you went out and interviewed 50 people. I think that would in itself had been a challenge, going door to door, reaching out to people. And I think in spite of that, you must have faced a lot of rejection, knowing and understanding that you're going somewhere and still they're not wanting to give you your time.
Correct. So that used to happen. But if that was the time I actually gave up, this wouldn't have happened.
So you went out and you interviewed all these people. Now I'm sure that a lot of people, what I wanted to understand is that when you're doing this consumer survey, a lot of people, what they do is they try to solve a problem which is a problem in their head without really going out to people and understanding whether the problem is worth solving. So I think you did that first bit right, where you went out and spoke to a lot of people. And I'm sure a lot of people were very happy with their current business. They were like, हमें online जाना ही नहीं है. So what was your perspective to that? Like, how many out of, let's say, 10, how many people were like, I don't see the value in going online? Because there are a lot of traditional businesses, a lot of people who are running these pharmacies it's like a family business.
Right.
So just wanted to understand that what was your pitch to them, or how did they understand what you were trying to explain?
So when the first time is when I went, let's say for 10 pharmacies, all of them said, चल रहा है boss, चलने दो, please, कुछ नहीं है. Then maybe 9 pharmacies. The 10th pharmacy which I went, the owner wasn't there, but the owner's son was there.
Yeah.
Which is actually of the new generation. And I explained this to him. And he's asking me some tech questions. ये होगा क्या? वो होगा क्या? Delivery के लिए मैं पिन कोड सेट कर सकता हूँ, रेडियस सेट कर सकता हूँ. अच्छा, medicines कैसे होगा? Inventory कैसे चलेगा? I'm like, okay, he's curious.
Yeah.
So then, after a few pitches, I had to divert my pitch into someone who would understand the space. So that's when actually my target audience remained the pharmacy, but my pitch actually went from maybe the owner to the owner's manager or the owner's son. And in their cute little language, they used to explain to the owner, कि देखो ये होगा, वो होगा. And that's where it led to, अच्छा ये है, वो है. And then they started asking questions. My pitch was just to explain, would you do something if I gave you an opportunity where you can start your e-pharmacy store, like an e-pharmacy website, for example, daivikmedical.com, in 10 minutes for a mere $3,000. Would you do that? That's when they're like, okay, मुझको क्या मिलेगा? धंधा मिलेगा क्या? All of that. Then I explained it to the person who's actually understandable. And that's where it went into diverting my pitch audience. And that's where I got a lot of consumer feedback, a lot of feature feedback. Again, in terms of priority, there are hundreds of features that can come. But what goes in the MVP, what actually goes, that is very, very important in order to start. So there were 2 challenges which these guys normally had compared to traditional, e-com website builders. Like if you take even WordPress or, some basic website builders like Wix or Shopify or something like that. One thing was massive inventory. Medical stores on an average have 10 to 15,000 active products in their store.
10 to 15,000.
10 to 15.
Number of SKUs.
That's a number of SKUs, active products in their store. How do you cater in actually getting all of those products online? Some of these don't even have computer systems to generate bills. They do challans on paper, have a carbon print and give it to the customer. Very few, right now actually Bombay has a lot now. They have those traditional systems with dot matrix printers to actually print and give it to you. How do you take that online? So that was problem number 1 which was there, which these guys kept asking me. Problem number 2 was, I am not good in marketing. I am not good in tech. मुझको सिर्फ धंधा करना आता है. I had no counter sales. How do I promote and get customers to actually start using the platform? 2 major challenges from most of these people. So that's where we focused on these 2 and actually started the platform.
Correct. So you focused on basically, like you rightly said, in an app or in any service, you can start with like 100 things.
Yeah.
But like really driving down and figuring out, okay, this is problem A, problem B.
Correct.
Let's solve this first because this is what the customer wants.
Correct.
I think this survey and everything that you did helped you achieve the product market fit faster with the MVP.
Absolutely.
So you've done your engineering. I think you've started your engineering.
So I'm right now in my 2nd year of engineering.
Okay. And what course?
So I'm doing computer science from NMIMS University in Bombay. So with the online courses and all, I've really been able to,
work
properly, consume my time in actually studying as well as in, starting something, expanding something. And it's really helped me to actually gain a perspective of tech as well, because being in that educational experience, it also helps a lot in terms of understanding how things can actually be scalable from 1 to 10, 10 to 1,000, maybe 1,000 to 1 lakh pharmacies.
No, absolutely. And I think also when you're doing it through college, when you're in college, having an idea, a lot of teachers now also promote it.
Yeah.
Pehle it used to be like, just focus on what you're doing. Now, if you go and tell them that, I mean, there are a lot of students in your college who probably will say, ma'am, mere paas idea hai. And then you guys come up and you're like, okay, we have an idea, we've created an app, we've spread it, and we've got some traction. So I think there's a vast difference. So where did you find your co-founders? I believe you have 2 co-founders.
Correct.
You can just tell me a little more about them.
Definitely, I would love to. So when I first started out, again, I made the whole product.
Yeah.
And then I again went to these guys, okay, chalo ready hai, use karo. Like, abhi nahi, baad mein aao. Dekhenge, dikha do, trial karenge. So one major mistake was that, okay, fine, they're good to explain stuff, they're good in talking stuff. When you actually have to start using it, start paying for it, okay, that's where maybe like one of the hurdles that I faced earlier. So then I went to one of the distributors in Bombay and pitched this product to them. So distributors come above the pharmacies in the supply chain of the pharma market. So I went to them, I just pitched, okay, we have something like this. And they already had a few in-house pharmacies with them. So I'm like, would you want to use something like this? And they loved the idea. They absolutely loved the idea. This is the need of the hour. This is the education, the learning that is required for these pharmacies to start going online. And they absolutely loved it. The distributor, the person who's running the distribution system, as well as the son. So the son was Yaresh Frizandi. He's one of our co-founders.
Okay.
He was like, okay, I love this idea. Let's see how things go in this. Let's start in my pharmacy. Let's see how it goes. We started maybe 1 month, 1.5 months, no traction. No traction. So then we started, we circled back, we saw what was wrong, etc., etc. And we used to deploy features like, the tech features in 12 hours. He used to request me at maybe 1 p.m. during lunch that what if he had this feature, and I would reply back to him at 1 or 2 in the night, and I'd be like, it's deployed, please update your app in the morning and check it out.
Wow.
That speed of delivery actually impressed him and the entire family, the Frizandi family as a whole, to actually see that, okay, wow, this is something, this guy has potential, this product has potential, and then it automatically started gaining traction because the features were enabled. People started liking it, and that's when the traction happened. And that's when he's like, okay, I would love to, join hands in any way possible to grow this. And I'm like, okay, so at any startup, I've experienced this the hard way. There's a triangle which is very important. The hustler, the hipster, and there's one more I don't personally remember, but the 3 of them actually means that one should be good in tech, one should be good in business and finance, and one should be good in sales, operations, and networking.
Yeah, so I think if we could put hustler, hipster, and tech.
Yeah, let's call it that.
Let's call it tech.
Let's call it that. So the hipster is where Yaresh would actually a very, very good fit. So in terms of operations, they are running an enterprise. They're running a distribution business with 8,000, 9,000 pharmacies in Bombay itself. It's massive. They're handling 5,000 to 6,000 invoices a day. They have a staff of over 1,000 people. I mean, they know how things work in the pharma industry. They have that expertise in place. They have the connects in place, being in the industry for 30, 35, 40 years.
So yes, you were telling us that there are 3 elements to the co-founders of every startup.
Right. So in every startup, the perfect way is like a triangle. So the triangle actually has 3 H: the hipster, the hustler, and the hacker.
Okay.
So hacker is who is in the tech field, who actually makes the product. Hustler is actually in more of the business finance part, who actually expands the business operations, and hipster is the one who actually pimps the product. So by pimp I mean sell the product, sales, operation, logistics, all of that. That's very important in terms of expanding.
Correct.
How much ever good product you make in hacker, if the hipster can't sell it. So it's a very perfect triangle that any startup actually has, and that's where I found Yaresh to be a very good fit in the hipster role, because he knows the market, he knows the operations, he's been in this industry for long, he has a very, very good network, the selling points are good, his propositions in actually pitching the customer is good, and all in all it was a very good combination that we could actually have on the team to actually expand the product. Nothing can happen single-handedly. That's one thing I've experienced. Single founders do exist. Very, very commendable. But I was there for a while in that stage, and this journey is lonely.
Yeah.
This journey has a lot of downs at first and then ups and downs. I would just say it's like downs at first.
Yeah.
So having a team partner, of course, makes a lot of difference, and having it in a different domain expertise, so we can actually divide tasks, will be a very good thing, to have. That's when Yaresh came on the team. Then we were like, okay, we have this sorted. We're going to, for fundraising, for expanding, for business ideas. It cannot only be one revenue
Strategy
stream.
and expansion. Basically.
So all of that comes into picture. And I had a cousin of mine who's actually an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, and because of her education as well as her work experience, I just went to her and I pitched the whole thing. I'm like, oh, this is the thing. How to expand it? And she gave me a few tips, 1, 2 here and there, and all. It was good. Next week, she's like, okay, let's meet up. I want to discuss more on this. We came, we met, and it was not in the family relation. It was very, very into the entrepreneurship relation.
Yeah.
We understood, we connected well in that arena, and she's like, okay, I want to, come on board, see how things can do, and I think I can add value to this and I can help this grow. And I'm like, yes, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want someone in this expertise as well, who can actually handle investor relations, strategy, business operations, expansion, everything which a guy who's coding 20 hours a day wouldn't know. A guy who's on the field pitching to pharmacies wouldn't know, but a person who's there building projections, building those presentations, and actually getting the funds to fund both of these has to be there. So that's when the triangle was complete, and that's when I'm like, okay, now this is like done. This is wonderful. Now let's sit down, strategize, plan, expand, scale. That was the goal. Yeah.
I think there are a lot of interesting things which you said there. The hipster, hustler, and hacker concept. Identifying those three. Even I believe that being a solo founder can be terrible. I mean, like you also said, even I have a lot of respect for solo founders out there, but I know that's not for me either, because I have a partner, Abhilash. We both have very different skill sets. He's much more interested in finance than I am. I'm much more interested in the operations and team building aspect of it than he is. So I would say we balance each other out.
Absolutely.
And now when you spoke about the third aspect, I would say we've got the hustler, hipster.
Correct.
I would say hacker and hipster right now.
Yeah.
The main hustler who helps us raise the capital. That's something that we both are doing right now. And we've realized that it's a significant time drain for the two of us.
Correct.
If we're trying to work on something, it is always at the expense of something else.
Right.
So I think this just opens my mind. We're anyway at this given point of time open to seeing how we can also grow and scale. But this is a very good framework for any founder out there to really understand. Because the first few years are either going to be down or extremely down.
Yeah, it's going to be rock bottom at any given.
Exactly, it's going to be rock bottom.
When you think this is the rock bottom, that's not. Let go a few months, that would be the rock bottom. So and I mean, it's a perfect combination. Aditi Ravani, who is actually my third co-founder, who's the hustler in this whole thing, is... So basically, I am terrible at math. I only know 2 + 2. That's it. You come into all of other paths, I'm terrible at it. To project something, to show the bigger picture to investors, to raise that capital on that bigger picture, on those realistic yet dreamy projections at the same time. It's very, very important to find that perfect sweet spot. So it's very, very important to have that kind of person on board with us to actually keep things in place, keep the strings attached in every way, and ensure things go smoothly. Because one of the major things, I've read a lot about startups, and I think you must agree with me, one of the major things of startups getting failed is two. One, the expenses are too much and there's not enough capital. So less monetary is one of the major reasons. Cash flow is a major reason. And a second would be again a PMF. You build something, as you rightly said a few minutes back, that you build something which is on your mind. Okay, this can be amazing, but you actually go to the market and test it out. That's when you feel, okay, that's maybe the product is amazing. I wouldn't deny that at all, but maybe the time isn't right. Maybe the model isn't right. There are hundreds of factors which lead to a failure of a PMF. So we had to tackle both of these very, very efficiently. And I wouldn't say we have cracked it. It's always, we're still figuring it out.
So I actually was listening to a few other podcasts and a few other episodes where the founders of Sugar Cosmetics were on the episode. And they were talking about how having the right product, but also having the right timing is very important.
Very important.
So there was someone on another show which I saw who came up with the 10-minute hyper-local delivery back in 2016. And they were like, we were trying to develop it back in 2016. And now when you think about it, 2021, 2022, everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing it.
So, I mean, they keep joking. I mean, that founder was joking. He said that we were 4 years early with the idea.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right now, understanding that the market dynamics can change. Like you said at the start, COVID really accelerated a lot of things.
Yeah.
It accelerated
Digital adoption was absolutely insane in COVID. Like, what do you think WhatsApp could have done in 4 years? COVID did it in maybe 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
Similar for Zoom, similar for virtual meets, similar for work from home, remote work. The culture which is present in the States, in the Western world since decades. India adopted it in 1 year and is doing very successful in it, as I say.
Absolutely.
Only because of COVID.
Yeah, everything changed. And I would say that you also found your founders in very, I would say, non-conventional places.
Yeah.
I mean, my initial understanding was that probably you found your founders at college, like y'all were batchmates. That is the essential story.
That's I think, everywhere what you see.
Yeah, that's everywhere. But now I would say that looking for a founder at one of your customers when you went to pitch and finding a co-founder there would have been...
So if you go with the expectations of finding a founder, that'll be a major heartbreak to you. So I've seen, there might be successful cases, but I've seen, founder meets happening, founder connects, like how we have Tinder dating, speed dating, we have founder datings and all, to actually go, interact, see how things go, find synergies, connect, stuff like that. If you go with intentions of finding someone, you're never going to find someone. It has to click in the right sense. So, and I mean, like, it's not always all stereotypical of, college founders, batchmates, we dropped out, we started something. No, but I mean, like, and I think I think we are the perfect combination of building something good. Is just what I personally feel, and we're in the progress of doing it right now.
No, absolutely. So now, if you can just tell me how you started Easocare, like you mentioned that you pivoted a few times.
Right.
So if you can just tell me what was your first product to where you are today.
Okay. So I'll give you like a quick stuff of what we did in the between as well.
Yes, please.
So we started as the EMR mobile app, the consumer-facing app for medical records and digital storing it and stuff. In between, we started some projects when COVID happened. So we thought, let's do something in this COVID era. So we started like a COVID live tracker.
Okay.
To track cases and all. We used to
similar to the regular.
Yeah. I mean, like there are like hundreds right now in the market. But at that point when it was actually just, end of March, when cases, we started when it was around 400 cases.
Yeah.
So
start of the lockdown.
Very start. 21st was the lockdown and we started on 29th or 30th of March. And we just started as a project, as a whole. It shooted up. We have like 10,000 users real time on the website. We went to 2 million visitors on the website in mere 6 months. So nothing out of it as such, but we tried to, see how things go. And again, not in the monetary way. There's nothing we should do in this time to actually make it monetary. Not even like put ads in the website. It just was simply crowdsourced. So a lot of networking happened in that way. We started something called self-check. Okay. So it was like, we saw in the market that there are multiple products being created because of COVID. So the hand sanitizer stand, for example. We have touchless sanitizers, for example.
Face shields.
We have face shields, for example. We have the thermometer guns, for example. They existed, but they really boomed during COVID. And we thought, okay, why not merge all of them together into one device? So at one place, you can actually check your oxygen SpO2 levels. You can check your temperature. You can sanitize your hands and also get a UV overview of your whole mobile or any device that you're holding. So we fabricated it, we went to vendors, we saw how it works out. We made the whole piece. It's a one singular piece. It looks like a stand only, but it does all of the functions. It's tech enabled, all of that. We sold a few pieces. We sold a few on e-com, like Amazon and stuff. Good. But then the market wasn't there anymore. Like things started opening up. It was simple. So we pivoted in very, very different ways. And that's when I think it was just, the third or the fourth project was the pharmacy one. And that really hit the spot.
But by then, was it we? Because I think by then it was just you.
Yeah. So the whole point was just me.
Yeah.
Even when the project started, it was all me for the first few months. So in timeline wise, I started coding the whole thing back in December 2020. I launched it in March 2021. I took around 3.5 months of coding. Again, survey and all kept on happening simultaneously, talking,
Like
interacting
serving
with
through
people.
the day and coding through the night.
Something like that, absolutely. I would say studying in the day,
Oh, I forgot you were still in college.
surveying in the evenings, and then coding in the night. I think that was the scenario. And
Yeah.
while other people were playing Ludo and stuff on Zoom and stuff, I had my family gatherings on Zoom calls where, they used to play and all of those stuff. And I used to be in the room with the headphones and just coding stuff. I mean, I would say there's no regret as such, but could have experienced both as well.
Yeah.
So that happened. And March is when I launched. Till April 2nd week of 2021, I'm saying, I had 0 customers. I went to each and everyone who had interacted in the past. I'm like, okay, this, that. I tried ways which was not a very good way in terms of maybe going directly to the highest authority of the pharmacy association, for example. But like we had connect, so we went. But it's not the right time. You need to have some trust of the local ground people before you can approach. So all of those learnings, of course, came.
I think every industry has a very different dynamic. And
absolutely.
Where you hit, when you hit, with whose support you
very,
hit.
Very important. Very important. And May is when I met Yaresh. So then May, June, July were completely testing months of seeing what is good for the market and how their pharmacy was doing. And at that point, we got 10, 15, 20 customers through connects, through word of mouth, and through ye kar raha hai to main bhi dekhta hu kya hai. So all of that used to happen. Then what we did was from I think August, September, we just created a plan that we want to hit 100 stores anyhow. So we're like, how do we do that? So we're like, okay, for the first year, we might charge a subsidized fee or get a free and just get the traction we need for the market to understand. So me and Yaresh on a bike, morning 9 a.m. to evening 9:30. College on my phone. It was running on the Zoom or something like that. Or there were like proxies and stuff. We have to do that. I mean,
Part and parcel of college.
Exactly. And assignments, exams, all doing
on
well.
Point,
So it doesn't matter. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 12, 13 hours a day. We used to go to each and every pharmacy of Bombay. We visited over 350 pharmacies in Bombay over 45, 50 days. Closed around 67, 68 of them in like just 40 days.
Yeah.
We went, we pitched, we do this. And that was a time where we thought rains were gone, but they weren't gone. The climate has changed so much. So
Bombay never fails to surprise.
So you're on a bike, get wet. We have to go in that pharmacy's inside to use the fan to just dry ourselves up. So challenges come and go.
Wow.
We had to be on field on a bike all day long to see scorching heats to shivering cold rains. We faced it all. Accidents, used to fall. It used to be insane. I had to do a toe surgery because of infections. It's like, in general, it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I think from what you explained to the adjective you used, I was like, you could probably want to use something else, but you were like, this hardship was wonderful. I think that is the beauty of it.
It was wonderful. It was an experience anyone should have.
Oh, absolutely.
If you meet your customers, that's when you actually realize, I could do the same thing over cold calling. Maybe instead of 350, I had to call 3,000 customers, pharmacies. I might have gotten 60, 70 people. But now I have a contact list, I have a group on WhatsApp, I have broadcast list of every customer. I see their stories, I reply to them, Acha chal raha hai, sir. It's going good. How is it going? They have my personal connects, no customer care number, no other staff number, directly of the founder who's running this company. You can call him. I've got calls at 11:30 saying, "Arey bhaiya, ek customer ne order place kiya hai. Ye hai, abhi kya karu?" Then I have to explain each and stuff at 11:30 in the night. Stuff happens. But I absolutely love the process. I mean, there might be some people who'd say I'm mad in this, but it has to be like that. You have to be mad in love with your product as well as your customers to actually grow.
No, that's beautiful. I think I have slight goosebumps because this entire story just reminded me of how I started Innovations also.
Tell me more about it.
So, I mean, that's another time. But the whole idea is that what you said, like being the founders, being in touch with your customers, going through those hardships. Because me and my partner, we also started Innovations out of a car. We both quit our jobs. I was freelancing for 9 months. I have this period where I was not kidding. I was lying down in a bed. I was staring at my fan. I was waiting for my partner to still quit the startup that he was working in.
Okay.
He was in a bond. I was still waiting, and I had taken a leap of
faith.
Yeah, I was like, I'm starting, and I was like, okay. And at that point, right, you have like completed. Like that time, I'd completed college.
Okay.
Everyone around you has a job. You tend to get into that cycle.
Right.
But anyway, the whole point is that today, me and my partner also reach out to all our customers. We ask them, and I think that just going through this phase which you mentioned, like scorching heat, the rains, the winters, everything, and still having that connect rather than going digital, rather than doing 3,000 phone calls. It could have been faster also. Probably you would have signed up in 20 days with your cold calls. But having that connect with those people and building that trust is very essential, because that I would say today it's the three. How many people do you have in your team right now?
So we have, including sales, I would say interns, founders, everything, we have a team of around 12 to 13 people. Right?
12 to 13. So you will realize that now as you grow from 12 to 13, we were also up until June last year, we were around 9-10 of us. Cut to December, we were 22 people. So that expansion happened super fast. And I would say that the kind of culture or the kind of values that the founder has is what then gets passed on.
Right.
And I think that is a very critical aspect, passing on those values down the chain.
Right.
And I would say in startups such as yours, where you will start raising capital faster and your expansion will be faster. I'm sure the next time we speak, probably you will be at 30 people. Next time we speak, we'll be at 100, and so on and so forth. You never know.
We never know.
So I think that it's going to be a very interesting challenge for you also, like going out to people, speaking to them, having that personal connect.
Right.
It just builds trust for people, because I would say in a digital age where you're on an app, you have no one to speak with. All you have is a customer care, and people usually have this tendency, यार customer care पे जाऊँगा, 2 बार dial करना पड़ेगा कि press 9, press 8, फिर I mean, trust me, there are times where I let go of things.
Just
I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go. I'm like, I Google human helpline number for Airtel, human helpline number.
Right.
So this entire concept of engaging with customers, and I think I'm sure it's going to reap a lot of benefits for you in the long run.
Right.
And I think the kind of feedback that you're also getting is helping you identify what features to add and what not to.
Correct.
So it's...
So, I mean, like, I would say understanding what the customers really want does definitely overpower what I actually want. So, maybe I want a feature that looks really cool, but first customers might not want it. Like, I've been studying blockchain since a while. It's like the new thing in the market, right? Web3, blockchain, cryptos and NFTs, and I've been studying that for a while just to understand technology as a whole. And I just pitched to my founders, what if we have blockchain-enabled order management system? That'd be so cool. Then they were like, okay, great, sounds cool, explain it to me. I showed them a prototype what I've made. I'm like, same to a difference. I'm like, no, piche se you see this is happening, that is happening, there's ledgers being created, stuff like that. Then they're like, see, it's already happening. These pharmacy owners don't care how you're doing it in the back end. Orders process ho raha hai na boss. Kaam chal raha hai. Again, India is very much early in this. But sometimes your personal desires definitely overpower what the customer really wants. And that's something I definitely respect. And again, I've learned this the hard way. I make 5 features. They're like, it's so cool. If I deploy it, there's going to be like so many people using it and stuff, and I see 0 traction on it. So that failures actually help me understand that I should be actually listening to them. If they want this, I'm like, नहीं sir, अभी ये चालू है, होगा उसके बाद आपका feature लेंगे. If they want this, see how you can do this in the earliest and try to do it. So value of customers as well as their needs for this platform to be successful, or in any general, anything which is a customer, whether it's B2B or B2C, understanding what the customers really want is very, very important.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that is, I would say in a digital or an app-based service such as yours, the feedback is very immediate.
Yeah.
For us, actually, when we, let's say, change something in our service, the kind of thing we're offering, since it's a physical product we're delivering, we get feedback.
Correct.
So I would say that we are not able to really track that traction within a shorter span of time. So I think that's the benefit of having an app, deploying features, really like playing around a little, It's very, I would say, equally exciting, if nothing, and understanding what people really want, delivering that, and putting that out. So
Right.
now I think I've broadly understood what Easocare is doing. It is making sure and enabling that it's enabling brick and mortar pharmacies to go online.
Correct.
And I'm sure that that is also solving a problem, a greater problem, because if I'm a customer, let's say I live in Chembur in Mumbai, I order something off of your platform, it will automatically connect to the closest. So if you can just help the
the user experience as a whole. As of now, it's completely decentralized.
Okay.
Every pharmacy has its own store, its own link. They share it with their customers, and the customers can place orders online on their store directly.
Okay.
So it's not like you are in Chembur and we give you the nearby pharmacy and we do that. So one major thing that, I mean, we are changing our mentality into it, but we started in the sole purpose of every pharmacy should have its identity.
Okay. So what that means is, let's say, currently if I go to, let's say, pharmacy A, like there is one Noble Medicals in this area. So I go to Noble and I tell them that, okay, if I want to order online, how can I do it? And then they can give me this link and I can order.
One way, yes, or else they start doing broadcasts. We give them banners, we give them QR codes, we give them marketing collaterals to share with their customers. So it's ideally right now what you've seen is it's mainly to retain their existing customers.
Understood.
It's difficult to retain our existing customers because they're getting attracted by maybe like a lot of different things in this current era. And you want to, main thing is retain them. So you want to provide them a value-added service. And that's where it comes into this. So one thing right now we are working on is retention.
Correct.
We want them to be on their medical store, they have been their lifetime customers. They're him, his dad and his grandfather all have ordered and placed and had their medicines delivered from this guy. That guy knows by heart कि आपकी शादी भी कब हुई थी. You know, these guys know everything.
Level of personal connect.
It's always there. And I would say maybe this platform removes that and makes it very seamless. But I think that's the sad reality of digital age.
Yeah.
So one thing is retention. Now coming to your point, discovery. So retention is being catered right now. We are working on something to actually make it discoverable. So there's so much decentralization that as a customer, as a pharmacy, it's good, I have my own identity. But as a customer, I just want my paracetamol. I don't care if it comes from this medical or else I prefer this medical, but just give me where the stock is and give me where the best prices and give me where the best convenience I can get. So this is something we're working on in some sort of a marketplace where discovery happens much more easier on the consumer side of Easocare. There we promote our system to actually discover your local pharmacies and let them place orders on.
Understood. So then basically people get to know about the app and then through the app they can discover the local pharmacy.
Correct. So it's going to be like, join the network of these 1,000 pharmacies and, get it from your nearby store. And so take each aspect that they are facing. So one is retention. So future plans, if I may say, we work on retention right now. We fix that problem and we are good to go from there. We go into discovery to get them new customers is one thing. And then it's scalability. So once you actually get those customers, how do you ensure they are lifetime customers? How do you ensure, if you compare these branch stores, like if you see these branch stores in Bombay, like Wellness or Noble or stuff like that, it's an experience store. It's just not a pharmacy. You enter in, you can explore the interiors, the exteriors, the customer service, the way orders are placed. The entire thing is an experience.
Absolutely.
Like similar for fashion as well, like a fast fashion brand versus a luxury brand. What do you pay extra for the experience? You're not paying extra here, but it's for the experience, right?
Yeah.
So when you go to scalability, it also should enrich the experience of the consumer, both online and offline.
Yeah.
Online, we can do anything. But we also want to go in the offline experience of the consumer. Make your store, maybe rebrand it, revamp it in such a way that you can actually increase your offline sales as well.
Wow.
So maybe the future goal, if I say, is to make each and every pharmacy completely digitized, tech-enabled, not only for receiving orders, but for managing orders, stock, inventory, purchase, analytics, staff, payroll, business management, finance, everything. Make them completely addicted to online tech, yet keep them independent.
Understood. Yeah, I think from what I understand is rather than cutting these people out of the chain. Y'all are in fact growing
them. So
and empowering them in so many ways.
That's actually like spot on of
Yeah.
what we are trying to do. Each and everywhere, each and every industry, you are trying to cut down the middleman.
Exactly. As we're going digital,
You're just trying to cut down. We have a new segment in the industry called D2C, direct to consumer.
Yeah.
You're trying to cut down the entire chain. You're cutting down livelihoods, you're cutting down jobs, you're cutting down enterprises, you're cutting down businesses who've been there for decades.
yeah,
It's not the way we should go forward. I mean, there are better ways to solve. And these are very, very critical, important players of this industry.
Absolutely.
No matter how big your distribution businesses or no matter how big your manufacturing businesses, if the end users are on this lane of this locality and they want a Dolo 650,
Yeah.
no one's going to help them unless there's a medical store.
Absolutely.
These touch points are what actually save people's lives in terms of whether it's chronic or acute, both these medicine types. Why get them out of the supply chain? Why not actually go to them, get their pain points, get them online, do stuff which can actually help them grow? If not grow, at least let them retain customers, let them sustain their business.
Correct.
Very important.
Yeah, I think it's just making sure that you're leveraging their existing knowledge, framework,
Trust, brand,
Yeah,
their experience as a whole.
exactly. I mean, they've been there for like years and decades.
It's insane how people are just cutting them off for no reason. I'm like, these guys are the one you should be actually leveraging on. I mean, like, maybe I'm wrong in this because there have been very big players trying to, remove people from the supply chain. Not just in pharma, I'm talking in general.
Yeah, I would say
Agriculture,
everywhere.
Automotive, everywhere you see, fashion for that matter.
Beauty,
everything.
fashion, everywhere. Everyone wants to go. D2C, I think, is the new thing right now, where a lot of brands. I would say that there are two sides to the debate. There are certain benefits, but like you said,
I wouldn't deny at all.
Yeah.
D2C makes things for the consumer. It's a win.
Yeah.
You're getting it at a better cost.
Yeah.
You're getting it faster.
Yeah, and the company is getting at a better margin because it's directly going to the customer.
I am not against D2C. I'm seeing there could be better ways to solve this.
Yeah, correct.
There 100% could be better ways to solve this.
Yeah.
You can maybe cut down not important players in the market. For example, aggregators. Aggregators, agar tum log ne nikala, for example, at any given point, let's not go into pharma. I'm talking in any industry. You remove aggregators. They might be a critical part right now in the life of this entire supply chain, but uske bina kaam chal raha tha.
Yeah.
Not only online, any aggregator marketplace ho raha tha cheez, right? So, I mean, if they go out in any way possible, it will still function the same way it goes. But tomorrow morning, just remove pharmacies from the entire picture of Bombay, and you want a medicine right now. How will you get it?
Absolutely.
Dark stores? No, man, it doesn't work like that. It might work in groceries, X, Y, Z, everywhere. We're seeing how we can actually solve this kind of problem. The new buzz of the world right now is Q-commerce, the quick commerce, Hyperlocal is now also old.
Yeah.
First, it was like 2 to 3 business days mein Amazon de raha tha, fabulous. Prime is giving in 1 day, fabulous. Dunzo's giving in 45 minutes, fabulous.
Yeah.
Some other players now giving in 10 minutes, fabulous. I'm like, they've cut down so much on the delivery time.
Yeah.
Where's medicines right now? 5 years back when Domino's started pizzas in 30 minutes.
Yeah, everyone went mad.
But I'm like, you are cooking, baking, delivering the pizza in 30 minutes. Why is not a life-saving injection being delivered in 30 minutes? Why is an ambulance stuck in traffic and not coming in 30 minutes? Healthcare is so fragmented in the Indian industry right now that you need someone to solve this with the right capabilities. We might or might not be the ones doing that, but we definitely want people to actually be aware that it's a problem worth solving.
No, I would say that you guys are in the right direction, A. B, you all have clarity. And C, I think the kind of vision you have, not only about the current problem you're solving, but about the whole sector. I would say at the end of this discussion or this conversation, I've understood the passion that you have for this. So, I mean, genuinely, I would say that you have a very long way to go. And I'm sure you're going to solve a lot of other problems and also ignite a spark that, okay, this is an industry. simple things. Like, why can't an ambulance reach in 30 minutes? Why can't, I mean, these questions sound so simple.
But I mean, like,
There
you
is no
get what I'm
solution.
saying, right?
Yeah.
I don't need tomatoes in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I need these bloody stuff in 10 minutes.
Exactly.
So,
We need to, I would say, as a race, as a generation, rethink our priorities. Like, what do we really need in 10 minutes? We're so spoiled right now. That instant gratification. Upload something, you need likes in 10 minutes. Your likes scenario keep refreshing. You want Amazon. Like, just today I was telling her that we call for something. It's delivered within 8 hours. Like, I order something in the morning, it's delivered in the evening. We're so spoiled. Now you're like 3 days. Who waits for 3 days? Let me check on another website.
it's there.
So
Absolutely.
that is how people are functioning, and human beings are right now so conditioned that they have like zero patience. And that is not only showing in the way they interact with products, but the way they interact with life. They try to do something, they fail within a week, and they're like, this is not for me. Let me try something else.
Yeah.
So I think overall, it's a very greater problem. But I'd say that congratulations, first of all, that you're doing this at this young of an age with the right people, with the right founders.
Right.
I would say that this is just the beginning for you guys. Wishing you all the best. Please let me know if I can help in any possible way outside of like my area of interest. Because I would say that your vision, the kind of problem you're solving, is something that is beautiful. I think it's something that I can also relate to. And if I can contribute in any little way, whatever way, I'd be more than happy to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, like, that's what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to connect people, not only pharmacies, but everyone, to build a greater, better healthcare system, a more efficient way. And even in the minutest way possible, we're trying our best. And let's see how it goes. We're pretty new at this. I'm pretty new at this. Zero knowledge, but I'm just still exploring people, meeting people like you, understanding how entrepreneurship works as a whole, how startup industry works as a whole. We've seen major digital adoption in the last few years. And seeing how things go actually and figuring stuff out. Maybe the next time we talk, the direction might be a little different, but I'm very sure of my vision. That is not going to change at the whole. Maybe the way I reach that vision might change, but the vision remains the same, is to make it more efficient, better, and in general, just make it a better system.
Absolutely. I think the solution might vary, but the problem will still be the same. Yeah, I think that's amazing. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
It's been a wonderful time. Got a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think by the end of this conversation, it didn't seem like this was the second or the third, the first time we met.
That's the first time we met, yeah.
It didn't seem like that at all. I think it was...
But that's the connect with founders, man.
Yeah.
Like, you just have stuff to talk about.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's just beautiful.
Yeah, it just clicks. I mean, every founder that I've had a conversation with, I think I'll tell you the happiest I've been working on this podcast and making it. I'll tell you the happiest I am is the half an hour after the episode has been shot. Because that period is like where I'm like, wow, that was such an enriching conversation. You understand someone's challenges.
Of course.
And you're able to probably be able to tell them that, okay, at some point of time, you never know. Probably your coding skills might help us. Our supply chain skills might help you.
Absolutely.
Somewhere down the line, maybe 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, like,
years.
this networking is very crucial.
Yeah.
In especially early stage stuff where I'm very sure in some other way we might cross paths.
Exactly.
I'd have no idea how, but I'm very sure in some way, because the connect is actually very important. You click with someone and you actually, maybe I'll find a problem in which you can connect with you and actually try to solve the problem.
Exactly.
So we'll see how things go, but it was a wonderful time having you.
Look forward to it, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Nama. Thank you.